Raider Nation, good morning. It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at the biggest winners and losers from the Raiders' third preseason game up against the Arizona Cardinals. I'll be very transparent. I don't care that the Raiders lost this game. I was impressed by their starters. I am concerned about their lack of depth, and I think everybody's probably a little bit concerned about their lack of depth. But coming up here on today's show, I'm going to be breaking down who the biggest winners were on the offense and defensive side of the football. I'm also going to have to talk about who the biggest losers were as well on the offensive and defensive side of the football. If you bleed silver and black, if you're a diehard Raiders fan, I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to turn on those notifications. Free videos every single day. And if the silver and black end up cutting players today, I'm going to end up getting you guys a video, so I don't want you to end up missing it. The Raiders got to get down to 53 men by August 26th. It's this Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'm going to be live earlier on that Tuesday just discussing everything that's going on around the nation. Let's go to my winners here on offense first. I'm going to give a nod here to Jackson Powers-Johnson, and I'm going to say that because I just thought he was better than Alex Kappa. And the number one thing that I was looking for on the offensive line, really on offense in general, was what does that battle look like? I know, Pete, I know this regime has been putting the ore at depth chart between JPJ and Kappa, but if you watch this game, I thought it was very clear. Our starting offensive line is going to be Miller, Parham, Meredith, JPJ, and DJ Glaze. Let's go to number 4 here. I'm going to give Ian Thomas some love. This is somebody that I challenged during my pregame watch party just because he's had some drop issues. I don't think was living up to the expectation that I was hoping that he had as a tight end 3. But to me, he did enough today from a blocking, but definitely as a receiving standpoint. 2 catches, 27 yards. But I just think when you look at him, and then Albert O, Carter Runyon, Quadir Ishmael, Justin Shorter, none of those other players to me did enough to be able to be like, hey, I deserve that nod over Ian Thomas. And this is a team that I believe ends up keeping 3 tight ends. So because of that, I think your 3 tight ends, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Ian Thomas. For that reason, I gave him a win. Let's go to number 3 here. It's going to be Geno Smith at a quarterback. And our quarterback situation is going to be something that obviously we talk about today. And even though limited throws for Geno in the preseason, I think all of us could say that we love what we saw. And the fact that that's how we started out the first preseason game, brought to this right now. If you're not a Geno Smith believer, throw up the birds. But this was somebody that, again, limited throws today, 2 of 3, 26 yards, had a nice touchdown throw down the field. He's been able to spray it all around this entire preseason. Today, limited sample size, but you felt good about what you saw. And to me, that's what I care about in these games. I feel confident and I feel good that Geno Smith is our quarterback. Let's go to number 2 here, and it's going to be running back Zamir White, 9 carries, 42 yards today. He looked good, dude. And to me, Zamir White looked like the running back that we saw in 2023 in the back stretch of that game. He looked quicker. He looked more decisive. He's been able to hang on to the football. And he just is able to get north and south a lot quicker. And I also got to give Zamir White some nods here because Ashton Genty had limited work today. 2 carries, 5 yards. They took him out. The first running back that came in was Zeus. And I actually like the fact that I feel like I can call him Zeus. Zamir White's when he plays bad. Zeus is when he looks good. And if you weren't impressed by Zamir White today, then you didn't watch today's game. So let me know down below, which Raiders player impressed you the most against the Arizona Cardinals on the offensive side of the football. My biggest winner is coming up here after this YouTube ad break. So when you get hit with that ad, scroll on down, answer this question. Coming up, my answer. I got to give it to the wide receiver, the rookie, Dante Thornton Jr. And someday I hope that he breaks out that touchdown celebration. But the rookie, you could tell that Pete, you could tell that Chip, Geno, they've been trying to move the ball down the field with him. You saw it in the first preseason game. Saw it in the second preseason game. Geno and him, they went 0 for 2 today. They go 2 for 2 essentially. And the second catch by Dante wasn't Geno, but the first one was the touchdown grab. And, him being able to come down with that touchdown catch, it was a hell of a job by the rookie. He got both of his feet in right next to the pylon. But, that's how this offense, to me, is going to take that next step. And if we're able to take that next step with somebody like Dante, I really do think sky's the limit with this team. But overall, 3 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards. I am confident in Jacoby Myers. I have liked what I've seen out of Trey Tucker. Dante was the next one where I'm like, how exactly is this one going to end up falling? He looked good again tonight. I'm really, really happy from what I saw. Now let's go to the losers on offense. I'm going to put Alex Bachman on the list just because he didn't have any catches tonight. And this was one of those wide receivers where you're like, does he make the team? Does he not? He's on the roster bubble. I would still say that it's somebody that I anticipate makes in this roster. But for a dude that was like, playing for his job, to not have a catch, and he played a lot tonight. He got a lot of opportunities with a bunch of different receivers. I'm going to make him a loser on this list. Let's go to number 2 here. It's Thayer Munford, and Munford sucks. I've been so nice, I think, to Munford in years past. This offseason, I'm just kind of over the experiment. I get when you want to test guys out. I'm also, though, really frustrated in Brennan Carroll. I'm really actually frustrated in this coaching staff because why the hell are we putting Thayer Munford out at tackle? Put him at guard. If you're going to put him out on the field, at least put him at the position that he's his best at. He's just too slow. I don't know how many pressures he gave up. I know for a fact it's been at least 9 pressures in 3 preseason games. He just is slow. He's going to get somebody killed. Let's get him off the field. He can't make this 53-man. To me, though, the biggest loser, and I don't want somebody to say, Mitch, Aidan got injured, so how can you make him the biggest loser? It's not only that. I think it's also the game that we saw him play. Unfortunately for AOC, if you didn't see my instant reaction video, he suffered a fractured wrist. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. I anticipate the Raiders to go out and look for a quarterback. I'll say the number 1 name that I'll throw out there right now is Darien Robinson. He's like the 4th-string QB for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he also played college football at UCLA with Chip Kelly. So for all those reasons, I got to put AOC up here because I don't know if he's going to end up making the team. I don't know if they're going to put him on short-term IR. But for somebody who didn't look good in the preseason, had a fumble again tonight, thanks to, again, Thayer Munford, they combined on that one. I think we can all agree. Aidan O'Connell, Thayer Munford, probably the 2 biggest losers here, preseason and in this game. Shout out to tonight's sponsor, though, Prize Picks. And Prize Picks has been able to hook us up. And, I love Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by them. Football season's here. College football season's here. Don't miss any of the action this season with Prize Picks. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Price is simple to play. You just pick more, you pick less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you can cash in, win up to 2,000 times your money. If you want to roll with my picks here, then download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS. You're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And if you're trying to Prize Picks run your game, then take the look real quick at that Dak Prescott. He's got half a passing yard. Take the more on that if you want to roll with my entire lineup on the season. Brock Bowers, more than 5 touchdown receptions. You got Jacoby Myers. Also, Dak Prescott. You can go more. You can go less. I encourage you to go with the more on the half a passing yard. But anytime Prize Picks offers a deal, you guys know I'm a man that likes a good deal, and that link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description. If you saw the lineup that we showed earlier, that was 20 to win $320. I love Prize Picks. When you watch a game, whether it's preseason, whether it's college football, it's going to make your gaming experience a whole lot better. Let's go now to the defensive side of the football. We are going to start with the winners on defense, and then I will go to the losers on the defensive side of the football, and these are going to be ranked as well. Number 1 is going to be the biggest winner. Coming in here at number 5, it's got to be to me. I'm going to go with cornerback Grady Vance. And there was 2 plays back-to-back where Vance, I thought he was going to be able to get the sack on the quarterback, and then the very next play was able to get the sack on the QB, and it just showed to me resilience. It showed me a player that was never going to give up, and he had a solid game. 3 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, a quarter, a QB hit, flying all over the football field. And when you're in the 3rd preseason game, you want guys that, go out there and they compete. And Grady Vance tonight, I think, did a really, really good job of going out there and competing. And I think that nickel slot is absolutely open. Don't know if he makes the roster. Definitely somebody, though, you're going to put on your practice squad. Let's go to number 4 here, Leki Fotu. 3 tackles, and to me, what I wanted to see out of Fotu tonight was the ability to play, and he played a lot of snaps out there, and, he was also getting reps over Zach Carter, and Zach Carter was somebody that I featured in my 53-man roster video, so the fact that Fotu was getting reps over Carter, I do wonder if it comes down to both of those players if they end up going with Fotu, because when originally they lost Wilkins, Fotu was the player that was filling in instead of Carter. For those reasons, I'm going to go with Leki Fotu being a winner here. Number 3, I think one of the biggest winners of all preseason's got to be Tyree Wilson, and Whether he was lined up at defensive end, whether he was lined up at defensive tackle, the box score is only going to show you that he had 2 tackles. But, for me, maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but there's just certain players that you look at. There's just certain players that you're like, come on, man, I want to see it. And we've seen it this offseason from Tyree. You've seen it in all 3 preseason games. And when he's out there on the field, it just makes the overall defensive line a lot better. And, he's filling in gaps. He's setting the edge. He's just doing things that we haven't seen him do. And it's inspiring because it's year 3. It's a contract year. And I'm excited to see what Wilson looks like. Let's go to number 2 here. He played only 1 series, but Maxx Crosby was the best player on the field. I tweeted out he's the best player on the planet. And there are times like he just fires you up. One tackle for loss, and he's the best in the biz in terms of tackles for losses. But it was like, I think it was second down, ended up getting a loss of 4 or 5. His ability to just swim people, get up the field, and just make shit happen. They took him out because you saw that first drive. You're like, all right, this is why Maxx Crosby is who he is. But to me, I'm going to go with the biggest winner tonight. I'm going to go with Malcolm Koonce because if there's been one player I've been just saying, hey, I need to see more out of, needs to do better, it's been Malcolm. And I liked what I saw from him tonight. 2 tackles, half a sack, 1 quarterback hit. But what you saw tonight from Koonce was that first step. You saw the quickness, and that inspires confidence into me because if there's one thing that I haven't really seen from him this preseason, haven't really seen from him in training camp, haven't seen in the mock game, and all the practices, joint practices as well, was does he have that step? Does he have that burst? And tonight, you saw some glimpses of it. So the fact that gives me a little bit of confidence, I'm very impressed by what I saw from Malcolm tonight. So for that reason, he's the biggest winner. Coming up next here, though, let's get into the loser side of defense. And I'm not trying to be too critical, but I think that there are 3 very, very clear losers on the defensive side of the football. For those that do not know, Lord Cameron Abbott tonight, bro, absolute legendary shit. He gave a shout-out to the Great Tuna as well, R.I.P. to the Great Tuna. But LCA, you're in the Fantasy Football League. We got 3 more spots to fill, and I plan on filling those spots this upcoming week. So if you want a chance to get in our Fantasy Football League, you got to be able to try to get in this week. We got 1 more week here in the month of August. And Cameron, shout out to you, brother. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Well, let's go to number 3 here for biggest losers. And I'm not really going to pick apart the way that he played all too much, but Trey Taylor to me was somebody that needed to step up, needed to show out if they wanted to make this roster. And, he had 4 tackles, but he also gave up a few bad angles, gave up a few bad, receptions. There was 1 ball. It was like 21 yards down the field. Just nobody was around him. Completed it for a first down. And I think for somebody that was drafted in the 7th round last season, I think he's going to be looking for new opportunities this upcoming offseason. Let's go to number 2 here. It's going to be Sam Webb. The huge touchdown run that Arizona had today, it was just one of the worst angles I've ever seen a player take on a ball. And Webb he just simply took the wrong angle. I forget who the running back's name was. He ended up going 67 flipping yards for a touchdown. Bam Knight, hell of a name there. 67-yard run. But for Webb, again, a player that's kind of been on that roster bubble. He's been somebody that's been on the practice squad the last few seasons. Needed to stand out, and unfortunately he didn't. But to me, the number 1 biggest loser, and it's, quite frankly, it's not close to me. It's Darien Porter. And Porter was bad again today. Gave up the touchdown reception early on in the game. He's just giving up weight. He's not confident in himself, and I don't know how else to put it besides that. He's soft coverage. He's playing very soft in general. They let him out there on the field a ton, and because of that, I don't know how you put Darien Porter out on the field right now and have any confidence in him to be a starter. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jacorian Bennett, where you saw Bennett struggle as a rookie. You know that he's super athletic. You know that he's super talented. He needs to get reps, and I hope that he does get reps. But, you watch tonight's show, you watch tonight's game, and you're like, we need another corner. I don't know how this team looks at the secondary. I don't know how this team looks at that cornerback room and goes, we like the guys that we have. If Pete's going to say that, he's going to just believe in himself probably a little bit more than the players. But with all due respect, sometimes you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror. You got to be able to look these guys in the mirror and be like, you're not good enough to get out there on the field. So to me, I'm going to type my Y for yes. I do think the Raiders need to go out and sign a corner, whether that's Stephon Gilmore, whether that's Rasul Douglas. And if Pete's going to hit me with the argument of I want corners that play special teams, well, then put the corners that deserve to play special teams out there. Guys that need to play defense need to be able to play defense. And we don't have good enough corners to be able to compete in the AFC West. And if Pete Carroll's okay not competing in the AFC West, then what am I to say? But we need to add corners. Let them develop. Darien needs to develop. DeCamera needs to develop. But we're going to get picked apart if we don't break somebody in. And it sucks to say, but it's just the God honest truth. Again, you can disagree with me if you want, but our cornerback room with Darien being number 2 is not good enough to me. I just hold myself to a higher standard. If you guys do not know, I hope they hit that subscribe button. The Raiders have 91 players. We got to cut 38 guys before Tuesday, August 26th. I am going to be going live a little bit earlier on Tuesday, so just keep that in mind. I will say this. You look at a lot of NFL teams, they've been cutting guys left and right as soon as the preseason games end. I think cuts are going to happen today on Sunday. I think cuts are going to happen on Monday. When cuts do happen, I will get you guys a video. Full transparency, Alex has a work thing early on Sunday at like 8 a.m. to like 11, and then Alex's dad, his birthday, his brunch is going to be at 2 p.m. Central Time. So if anything happens around those times, please be a little bit flexible with me. I always keep you guys in the loop. But make sure you're subscribed. This is going to be a crazy, crazy week leading in to the regular season.